Welcome to Lisa Marie. I bought a loin today, a beef ribeye loin. It has the lip on. You can buy loins at a lot of different stores, at some wholesale stores, or even sometimes at your local grocery. You can request it. But tonight on Lisa Marie's Cooking Live, I am doing breakfast for dinner, and we will be using the ribeye steak for that. They don't know what I'm preparing yet. It's a surprise. But I want to trim some of the fat off and cut some steaks. I'm going to do some that'll be a little bit larger than others because some I'll save to use on the grill for later, and some I will use for tonight. I'd like to show what I'm doing. I really have never bought a ribeye loin before. I actually went on YouTube to look at several different people cutting the ribeye loins and seeing how they took some of the fat off, and that's how you can learn to do some things. So that was my lesson, and now we are going to trim this loin and get some steaks out of it for tonight. I'm excited. Let's watch what I'm doing here. This is my loin. I've already taken it out of the packing, and I have my knife. Right here, from what I understand, it's just a bunch of fat that's on there. You want to, it kind of comes off by itself. You just have to keep pulling, and you can use your knife to get some of it off if it doesn't come off as easy as you want, which is what I'm doing. And remember, I've never done this before, so don't worry about if you haven't done it before. Just get you a loin and go for it. So let's see here. We're going to continue to just pull this off like this. And then let's cut some of this back. I don't really want to take too much of my meat off. I just want to get the fat. So I noticed when I was watching some of the videos that there are so many different ways of actually cutting your steak. You know, you can, right here is basically a lip. It's a chain. And it has some good meat in it. You can actually cook this part when you fry your ribeye steaks. You can put it on a grill like that, or you can actually trim your chain off right here, but we're not going to do that. You can actually trim your chain off, and you can take it and put it in your meat grinder to do burgers later. So it's some really good meat right here for that. But we want to fry our ribeye with that on because there's a lot of good seasoning and a lot of good meat in that. So I noticed that there's another big chunk of fat right here. I'm just going to take some of it off, not a lot, because we do want some of that fat on our steak when we fry it. That's where a lot of that flavor is, in the fat. And this ribeye has some nice marbling on it also. Does. All right, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. I saw one chef, what he did was he actually took it and compressed it. He cut it in half, and then he put them in some saran wrap and tightened it really tight and put it in the fridge for a while so that it was firmer. Excuse me, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to cut it in half though, because I like to make sure I am dividing my steaks equally. So I'm going to cut it in half here. And when you do it, you don't want to raise your knife up because you don't want to have all of the waves and ridges in your meat when you slice it. There we go. I have cut it in half. Look at my ribeye. I am excited. And see, we're going to trim some of that fat off too. But let's put this first part on the side. And what I'm going to do with this part, I am going to take it and cut it in half again. These are the steaks that I will use on the grill later. Okay, that's in half again. All right. And so now I want to cut this into 3 steaks. So I'm going to do I'm just going to mark it. 1, let's see, I can probably get a good 4. Let's see if I cut them thicker. Let's see. So why you just do a little line so you can pretty much judge where you'd like the steak cut to go, that line. All right, so I'm going to do maybe here, and then here I'll do another cut, and we'll have a couple of steaks. And I'm not sure what the size is. I can actually weigh that to tell you how many ounces it's going to be. So we're going to cut here. And these are the steaks that I will use on the grill later. You don't want to cut your fingers. It's not really that difficult to cut a loin. You save a lot of money when you do it yourself. A lot. That's what I noticed in the price. I actually called around to get some pricing to see just how much it was going to cost if I purchased them individually or if I purchased the loin. Voila. That's 3 nice steaks. Look at that. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? So we'll just lay these steaks out here. And then we will trim just a little bit more of the fat right here. But first, let's get back to this one. I'm going to do the same thing. I want to divide this up and get at least 3 nice size steaks out of here. And this is the ribeye steak. So here we go. Let's cut. And this is a learning process. It's a learning curve. So when you do this for the first time, if it doesn't come out exactly like you want it to come out, you're learning, just like I am. And there's a lot of very smart people on YouTube doing things and sharing their knowledge with us. And that's one way for you to learn how to do some things that you've never done before. So learning is very important. If you enjoy cooking, you will be learning for a long time because there's so many different things out there that it just takes time to learn. So look at that. We've got 5 nice size fillets so far. I don't need this fat. I'm going to discard it. All right. I'm just using a little freezer paper here to put my meat on. And I may have to cut me another piece of freezer paper. Let me slice another piece of freezer paper because this one has some knife cuts through it. And I want to put my other half here. Spin that back a little bit. Okay, what we're going to do with this is we need to cut that. So I want to, again, divide this in half. And you just want to follow through with your knife. Again, you don't want to pick your knife up and down, up and down. You just want to follow through. And I'm going to move this on the side. And these I will cut a little thinner because I am cooking them tonight. So I want to get at least 4 out of this half. So I'm going to cut it in half first, divide it in half, and then divide that again in half so I can have a good idea of the size of my steaks. All right, and then I will cut it through. And this is the end, from what I understand. This is probably not the prettiest steak, the prettiest cut that you'll get, but it's still a great steak. So I'm going to sit that over here. And then I will cut again right here. All right. Voila. Got another piece. Those are going to be delicious for tonight. Delicious. You want to have a pretty sharp knife when you get ready to cut your loin, your ribeyes, or depending on what kind of steak that you decide that you're going to buy. But always buying a loin, you are going to save. And we will take this and put it over here too. We're going to cut. This part doesn't have a whole lot of fat down here to cut off, but on our other side, we do have quite a bit of fat down here that we want to cut off. But see that meat? We don't want to separate this meat. We can take some of that fat out, but we don't want to lose our meat. Okay, we're going to cut this in half and divide it, or just mark it, basically is what I'm doing, marking it. And let's mark it again. All right. And sliding just a little bit my paper. Put this fat down here. All right, put that on our paper. There's definitely a difference in the weight and the size as far as ounces is in these steaks that I'm cutting, but I'm not sure what the actual weight is because I've not done this before. All right. But we will find out. Take my scale out so we can get a good idea. And this is going to be the last ones that we cut. This fat right here it's very hard to cut through that fat. I don't want to mess up my meat, so let's see here. We're on the end. All right, there we go. Getting through that fat down there. Okay, now I am curious about the difference in the sizes, just so that you will know, like I am curious to know. Let me grab my weighted scale. So what I want to do is I am going to, let's see, turn it on, and I want to find just how much the ones that I'll be cooking tonight weigh. These are 10.9 ounces. This one's a 10.9 ounce size steak, each one, but I'm going to get rid of some of this fat because we don't need it. And this one is, for the grill, this is a 14.7, which is roughly a pound, almost a pound. So, and these are nice and thick. So we're gonna get rid of some of that fat too. So on this part right here, I want to trim some of that fat off, but not all of it. So we're just gonna take it off the edge and get rid of that. Look at that yucky fat right here. But they got some good meat on the end. And this fat will basically it'll just cook when we fry it. I'm gonna separate those, put some freezer paper in between each part, and actually take them and put them, I'm just gonna bend it back a little bit. Put it in my freezer and take them out when I need them. But these are some nice ribeyes, and it's a choice. So it has some really good marbling in it. And when you have the fat in it, what happens is, when you have the nice marbling in it, all that fat explodes when it cooks and keeps it nice, juicy, and tender, which is what we want. I just know there's fat on here that I don't need to have on here, so I want to get some of that fat off. That's it. This one, I'm going to take some of that off, but you can see the meat that's in there. I don't want that off, so I'm going to just take some of the fat right here. You can actually do that part of trimming. I saw that also on a video before you even cut your loin, so you don't have that much of this trimming to do afterwards, but I don't mind doing it. Again, it's an experience. But if you don't do it, you won't know how to do it. You won't learn how to do it. So take some risk, you know, get you a loin and just trim it. I've done tenderloin because I like to do like a Chateau Briand or beef Wellington. I love those, so I have definitely done that before. Okay, so I've got those steaks ready for the grill. Here's another one. I don't want to forget this one. Get rid of some of that fat. It's a little bit more. And actually on the grill, what's going to happen with this is that fat will taste nice and juicy. But we've got steaks ready for that. And these are the ones that we're going to use when we cook, like on a regular basis. And you can tell there's really not very much fat down here. But it's a juicy, tender meat down here. This one has a little fat on it. You see that? We're going to just get rid of that. Nice size ribeyes. I don't really want to take too much off of this one. And this one's fine again. You don't want to mess with too much of that because that's where all that flavor is. I'll trim just a little bit off right there. This is going to be delicious. And this one is fine. This was actually my first cut. So, let me rinse my hands off right quick. And that's how easy it is to trim up a ribeye loin, ready for the grill and ready for my indoor grill as well. Outdoor, indoor, delicious pan fry. These are going to make some absolutely delicious steaks, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and ask them to follow me. Every Monday night on Facebook, I do live cooking at Lisa Marie's Cooking Live at my profile, on my profile page at Lisa, L-I-S-A, Dix, D-I-X, Picou, P-I-C-O-U. You can follow me, like me, share me with your friends, and enjoy some of my cooking that I do in my kitchen live on Monday nights on Facebook. Bye.